Welcome, everyone. This is Tyler with Lossless Media. Lossless is a project I'm working on to highlight artists that deserve a little more time in the spotlight. Kind of what that means is I want to go around and kind of talk to a ton of the artists that I've met over the years. I've been like in and out of various different like artistic spaces online, and I've met probably thousands of people that have like unique stories and unique art that don't ever get the chance to talk about it. So I wanted to start a project where I can interview those people. And firstly, we have Aaron. Hello, say hello.
Nice to meet you. Hello.
Nice to meet you as well. So what kind of work do you do and what kind of art do you focus on?
Oh, okay. I guess I do a lot of stuff, but I think currently I'm working on 3D. The style is like anime mixed with low poly, just inspired by, a ton of stuff.
I've seen everything you have posted on Instagram.
Thank you.
And it's all way more cinematic than I'd say anyone else in the space is doing right now. Like I'd say like the number one thing that points you out in a group is the fact that you put a lot of time into the specific shots in your videos and in your animations, and like how they're set up and the way they are kind of formed around the music and around each other. Mm-hmm. So I don't know anything about cinematography or videography world at all. Could you speak a little bit about that and maybe your influences in that space?
Yeah, of course. So I mean, before I did 3D, I started off with a little bit of like, just YouTube. Just like YouTube, it was super popular. Everyone wanted to become like a vlogger, and I started from there. Yeah. And then, I grew out of that phase of just trying to become famous and stuff like that. And then I started taking art more seriously when the pandemic happened, and I was watching a lot of movies. I was doing photography, I was doing videography, I was doing a little bit of Blender, and then I was just influenced by a lot of mediums and creators. Sorry,
how did you find out about Blender?
Oh, crazy. Yeah. I think it was the year right before pandemic. On my YouTube algorithm, Ian Hubert lazy tutorials just popped up, and I was like, yo, this looks sick, and I just started doing them. It was probably the worst way to get started with Blender, but yeah, I enjoyed them.
I think my introduction was similar in the way that I had just like seen Blender, YouTube recommended me like Blender tutorials, or like not tutorials, but like videos on the software and why it being open source was so great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I kind of watched those and I was like, what is this all about? But that's cool. All right, so I have your page up right now and I'm looking through all your posts. What would you say is your favorite piece you've made or posted online? And it doesn't have to be something on your Instagram. It could be something elsewhere. Mm-hmm. So I know you have a portfolio somewhere too.
Yes. I don't think I have anything I like on my portfolio. That's just to show more like diverse skills I have. But yeah, I think the one I still love to this day would probably have to be the one I pinned up, the very first one, the green one, the identity piece.
How would you explain the piece and walk me through what was going through your head when you started the project and how that might have evolved over time?
Gotcha. Yeah. So this, I would say, was like the turning point of everything. This was last summer. I just finished my first semester of college, and I just wasn't happy with what I was learning in school. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to incorporate everything I love from everything I've learned in my life, from editing, from movies, from shows, right, music, and make something I fuck with. Okay, can I swear?
Yeah.
Okay.
Of course.
But yeah, so Identity was a piece influenced by a lot of people, a lot of creators. One of them was Brawler. I really fucked with his world building.
Oh, really?
Yep, I really fucked with his world building, and so I was like, okay, I want to create a universe of my own. This is when I was also picking up Blender more seriously. So I made this piece influenced by AMV edits, from trying to create my identity as a creator by creating logos, mess around with UI, mess around with 3D, like just everything I've...
Yeah, there's a lot in this video.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a accumulation of like so many different mediums, and that's what stands out to me about it, is the fact that you didn't just do one thing. This what is it, probably like 10 seconds of video? It's jam-packed.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot in here, and like there's a whole 3D city in there for a few seconds.
Just for
built a whole city.
I mean, yeah, let's go with that. I definitely didn't just procedurally generate it, but yeah, it was a very long... This was because I didn't know what I was doing at the time. I was just following tutorials. I was like mismatching. I was just like putting a puzzle together that I didn't know what it was gonna look like. So this was about like, I think, a month or 2 months. And it was just, I was very in my head, right? I was just trying to figure out what I wanted to do. How do I want to express myself? Happy how it came out. It was like, has stuff I enjoyed, like, futuristic a little bit of game, a little bit anime, a little bit of everything. And
So you said it took how long
I think about
to make?
I think about a month. Yeah.
What did that? So was that while you were in school?
No, this was just right after I got out of college.
So over the course of that month, there's definitely like different pieces of it. Did you kind of just take it one idea at a time, or did you have like the whole thing thought out before you started?
Yeah, so definitely didn't have it all planned out. I had a general idea because I wanted to use the song in the video, and I had
Yeah.
originally it was gonna be a lot longer and a lot bigger, but I realized I just had to get this video out and just produce something to get the ball rolling. But yeah, like originally it started with the logo, like the actual Illustrator physical stuff, and then I slowly screen recorded it and then edited it in After Effects, and then I went with the flow. I was like, oh, let me transition to 3D because I want to start doing more 3D with my work. And then added 3D, and then I added the city. I was like, okay, I'm kind of burnt out. Let me just pump it out.
Is that all when you started 3D? This is like the first kind of project you took on?
Definitely not. So I have a lot of hidden pieces archived. Yeah, like I said, I started with Ian Hubert's City.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think I have them on my portfolio, so if you guys ever want to check that out. But yeah, that's it. Identity is like I think 20-second, very short edit of a lot of things I've included, such as like I recorded my laptop opening up, and then I had a sequence of me building my logo, and that logo transitioned into a character in a game UI, and then that character transitioned into a city. And then this city is basically part of this larger world called Project AZ. Essentially, every creation I ever made will be somehow connected to this overarching lore.
Yeah, some secret lore, but not secret because it says it on the post, but kind of secret because I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's cool. Okay, so my favorite piece of yours is the one with Kishore. I think that was the sickest shit you've ever made, in my opinion.
Thank you.
And that video, I probably watched that video like 100 times when he posted it. I'm not even kidding. I'm not even like, I try to hype people up on Instagram and shit and show off people's creations when they post them and stuff. But like, I was actually watching, I was so impressed when you posted this. I don't know. I was like, dude, this video's amazing. So it's basically an animated music video. I mean, it says it's a remix. So did someone do a Kishore remix for this video?
Yes. So I had my friend Chase, which is a producer. He's worked with Kishore before and a bunch of other cool artists. And I just hit him up and I was like, yo, can you make me a remix? And he's like, sure. And then that's basically it. There's nothing crazy. If you want, I could.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But the post itself, it's really cool. I mean, you have this scene that's like kind of like a zombie horde almost, of just like a ton of characters like running across the screen.
Mm-hmm.
How did your computer handle that?
Oh, not very well. Not very well at all. So when I was doing it, I had to like hide a bunch of elements, hide them and unhide them to make sure it looked like what it wanted. There's a lot of toon shading. There's a lot of transparency, like instant transmission effect from Dragon Ball that I did, and it was just incredibly intensive on my computer because it would just had like 2 node groups going into each other, and each node group had a bunch of stuff already plugged into it. Yeah. So that was a mistake. The zombie horde, I mean, that was just a particle system, thankfully. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah. Originally I wanted them to like animate and have a little bit more life, but first I had to finish it for school, so there's that.
Oh, you did it for school?
Yep. 2 birds.
Okay, so talk a little bit about your schooling and about kind of, are you majoring or focusing on cinematography or video production in some way?
Yeah. So my major is called digital media and design. Basically, you would take a concentration, so like a more focused path. So you want to, you wouldn't just do game design and video and everything combined. So my concentration used to be film and video because I wanted to do cinematography and stuff.
Yeah.
But I learned that I didn't really enjoy like the aspect of recording and stuff like that. I enjoyed more of the post-production, just being in my cave and really having full control.
Yeah.
When I did Blender, I realized you're kind of like a god, bro. Like you can create
whatever. Can build anything you want.
Anything you want. Any angle. Like I don't need to buy a super expensive camera. It's more stylized and it just feels more like me, you know what I mean? When I started doing Blender, I just felt like I found my purpose. So now my concentration is like motion design. I haven't done anything like really professional looking. A lot of my stuff is still like very anime or like low poly stuff. I mean, hopefully I'll find a balance between professional and personal.
I think that stuff is professional in its own right though, because you can look at a piece that's low poly and I mean, it can be a shit piece, and it can also be an incredible piece, and it can still be low poly. I think a lot of your videos look very, very professional, and they don't have to necessarily have like, I don't know, insane level graphics to show that. And I think the perfect example of this is actually the sword in the Keyshore video. I don't know what you did with that sword, but it's like chromatic. It's got a lot of shading going on, and I want you to dive into that a little bit. But just from a viewer's perspective, I think he like lowers the sword or something, and like some particles come off of it. That piece is so, it's beautiful. I don't know. I'm stumbling on my words a little bit, but that's my favorite aspect of the video is the sword and the shading on that.
Thank you. I would have to agree. That shot and the initial shot where the portal opens up, I think those are my two favorite shots of the whole video. Everything else was looking back, not really enjoying it. It was a bit of a rush. There's a lot of composition and movement I would like to change, but since it was such a time crunch, I had to cut a lot of corners. Visually, I think, like VFX wise, I think it was really cool, but I think cinematography wise, story wise, and pacing could have been a little bit better.
I think it was great.
Thank you.
I think it was great.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
But what does the process look like for you when you're going into shading like a piece like that, like the portal or the sword? Or do you pull up references of like maybe a game or something that you like, or where do you pull the colors from and the references for like how you shade those items?
Gotcha. So,
and you don't have to get like super specific, but I'm just wondering what the process looks like, I guess.
Yeah, of course. I'm influenced by a lot of things. I think for this piece specifically, I was reading Solo Leveling, which is like a Korean manhwa. There's like portals. There's these dungeons, and like everyone has like these superpowers, and then you enter these dungeons to keep the monsters from entering our world. There's dungeon breaks, monsters escape. That's kind of the concept I have going on here. But for the shading, the actual coloring, the main character of Solo Leveling, his color scheme is like very black and purple, very moody. So I just got inspiration from that. But in general, like I would just take things that I was like really interested at the time and just try to break down how they made it. And then I would take like YouTube tutorials or like past knowledge I've already learned and then try to solve it, try to break it down. So like for the portal, right, it is made of a bunch of aspects. It's made of the main core, like the energy orb, the little wind coming in, the lightning, and then I just mixed them all together to create that little portal opening.
How about for like the when he slashes the sword for the first time or like brings it out? How do you do those? Oh, particles. The particles surrounding that. Yeah, those look really cool.
Thank you. I'm rewatching the video as we speak, so I'm trying to figure out what I did exactly. But
there's also this piece where he's like flying in the air and like I don't really know what's going on, but there's a bunch of colors just exploding downwards.
Mm-hmm. Oh, is it like the giant? All the colors is exploding onto like it's like a super wide shot, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that was pretty scuffed. That was supposed to be like, you know, a typical anime beam attack, but the displacement went a little too wide. It was supposed to be more concentrated, but it was supposed to be like a giant beam attack emitting from his sword, and then like the orbs were like charging it up. That's why they were like spinning around him. But yeah, it's like watching a lot of anime, manga, movies, and just digesting.
Yeah, I mean that's I think what art is usually essentially is just a culmination of like someone's influences and like people they watch or shows or media they consume and stuff like that. And I think that's really cool because everyone's obviously watching and consuming different media. I don't read manga or watch much anime at all, but I can definitely see the influence you take from that, and I think it's really cool.
Thank you.
Especially because you bring it together in a way that I would have never thought to even seek out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's cool. I don't remember how I first started talking to you. I think it was after I joined the 3D Discord. It might have been before, but that Discord community is actually amazing. All the guys in there have been super cool, super helpful, and like super supportive of each other. What is your relationship with the community and just community in general when it comes to building art and sharing art online? How does community affect your artwork?
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah. I had to step back a bit for this one. I think so. Right after I made the identity video, I dropped a couple more videos, and then I met Chase. He just randomly hit me up. He offered me a commission to make the pirate video called Scurvy. It's like another music video, and that was like my first time actually doing Blender like fully serious. I was like learning techniques. I was doing low poly. I was doing, I was building out worlds. I was building characters. I was like, doing the whole shebang that a lot of low poly artists start off with. And then after that video, I met a lot of other people like Zealous Dreamy and this person named Plight, and I slowly started to meet more people in the 3D scene. Dreamy invited me to the 3D server, and that's where I met a lot of other small 3D artists and big ones as well. I think it was around October, I started chatting more with Plate, and we created like a small server, and we started adding more people, and like that community, I would always like, now like looking back, I'm so glad I reached out to him, because one day he was streaming on Twitch, and I was like, yo, I'll slide in, and he's like, oh, I have a question about this Blender thing. I was like, okay, yeah, I can help you with that. And we hopped on VC and we hit it off. I can't imagine if I never hit him up, my sense of community in the 3D scene would not be the same, because I think I definitely owe it to Dreamy, I definitely owe it to Plate, and all the people I've met so far. They're honestly the greatest. They're very, very talented, they're very funny, and I just love creating because they motivate all my creations. Yeah.
It definitely surprised me how just community driven it seemed everybody was, and that's coming from someone who was in like the music scene for the most part, and like there's no sense of community, and I think it's because the community is so big in music in general. There's too many, right? It's segmented 1,000 different ways. Yeah. But with the 3D Discord, like everybody has been so just accepting of new people and new types of art, and everybody comments and like shares each other's stuff, and it's really cool. And I've gotten a few DMs just from people saying like, hey, I saw what you were doing and it looks really cool, like keep doing that. And that surprised me a lot. Yeah. I didn't expect that from anyone, and it was just really cool to see that and kind of become a little piece of a much larger community, and that feels nice. I don't know. Yeah,
I definitely agree. Like same here. Yeah. Like before I did 3D, I didn't have like, I had like friends, right? But I didn't like feel like I could vibe with them. Like they didn't feel like true close friends, right? I had like a bunch of acquaintances and stuff, but no one could really understand like art and shit. I didn't have anyone to like express that shit about. When I entered the 3D scene and like everyone's like hyping each other up, everyone's like yo, wow, Lord Stingray posted, and it was like everyone's just spamming, you know? Yeah. And then everyone's just so excited to be creating and be around each other, and that was just,
that's what it is. Yeah. Everyone's excited to be a part of something together, and I think that's really special.
Yeah, like the sensation of just being in the scene is just so nice.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that if that piece wasn't there when I started Blender, I don't think I would still be doing Blender today. I mean, I think I have a lot of fun doing it personally, but do you think you would still be in the community, or do you think you might have moved on to something else?
Which piece are we talking about?
I don't know. Like personally, I would have probably moved on to, there's so many different mediums for art, and I seem to jump between them quite often. Mm-hmm. And I see myself maybe moving on to something different if there hadn't been a huge focus on community. Yeah. And I'm wondering if that's similar for you, or if maybe you have different thoughts on that.
I think, if community is definitely a huge factor. I think even without community, I still would have told my story, but I definitely wouldn't be as passionate. So like I would do it in phases. I would do it in cycles. Like, okay, I'm feeling Blender today, so I'll do it. And like, okay, I'm not feeling it, I'm gonna play some video games, or I'm gonna go do some photography, or I'm gonna touch something else, right? But like with this community, I feel driven every day. I don't regret spending hours on a computer just looking at cubes and UV spheres and textures and whatnot, because there's people who are doing it together, and it's like a sense of community. But also like I think I'm just like re-saying the same things, but like just hyping each other up and just like enjoying the presence of each other.
I agree. It is real cool. All right. So you're going to school for, what was the major?
Digital media and design.
Digital media and design. So what is your dream job? Where do you want to land? What do you want to use this knowledge for?
Okay. Ideally, I would just love to just keep doing art and just do my own thing and get paid for it. But obviously, realistically, that's not going to be happening right off the bat. I would like to get like a corporate job and get some bread, get some money, and then do my...
Well, when you say you want to be doing it on your own, do you mean you want to be just kind of independently releasing like your own projects, working on your own projects and seeing success with that?
Yeah, exactly. Just like doing art full time and not really having to worry about finances, just, having fun with my life. But obviously, you can't just do that all the time. Maybe like a corporate job to get, some financial stability. And then once I get enough commissions or get enough stability doing my own thing, right? Maybe I'll sell merch. Maybe I'll like create a brand or like whatever, right? And then I'll transition to just doing art full time. That's the dream.
If you could get enough commissions today to pay for your year, the next year of your, whatever you have to pay for, would you consider just dropping everything and working on that? Because I know a lot of people with commissions get to the point where it's I mean, it can be super stressful working on a bunch of different timelines for different projects at once. Walk me through a dream project that you could create if you had the funding to do so and didn't have to worry about what the next steps were in your career.
I guess my current project, actually, the current project I'm working on is a short film dedicated to like my love for anime, for films and cinematography, and just like my experiences as a human.
You said you're creating a short film. I want to know more about that for sure. Is it going to be multimedia? Is it going to be, how's that going to go?
So this short film is, again, for school because I have to submit finals and stuff. It's going to be mainly 3D based, but it's going to be influenced by Fooly Cooly, Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Oh man, I love that show.
Yeah, exactly. Some other animes.
I watched with the English sub. No, dub. And it was terrible.
Oh.
Because people told me not to do that, and I did anyways. But the voices were wild, and it was still a good show. Go on.
Glad you liked it. Yeah, and then I love cinematography. I love the different angles and different lightings. I wasn't always like very socially confident, right? I was always like very, what's the word?
Me neither, brother.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm still not.
I'm still not. But it was a lot worse when I was younger. So I wanted to like address that feeling that I had with this upcoming film, and just
okay.
But not even like this one, like in general, like I want to tell stories and just create cool shit, you know what I mean? Like I just want to make nothing is going to be the same. Nothing is going to be, like you said, like repeatable or monetizable. I just want to create things that feel right in the moment, that can like really truly translate how I'm feeling at that time.
And I want to clarify, I don't think it's necessarily bad to do that as an artist and have like a game plan on how you're gonna, because I think a lot of social media sites do rely on something being posted often and being repeatable and monetizable. And I don't think that's a bad thing for artists, especially if they're still able to tell bits and pieces of their story by doing that. But I definitely respect taking on like a large project like a short film. I think that's really cool, and I would love to see it when you're done. Is that something you're going to be posting about? Or you said it was a lot in 3D.
Yes.
How far along in that process are you?
Literally just started it.
Okay.
Started Thursday, got the script. We're starting the script, storyboarding, character design, all that stuff. I'm using a little bit of ChatGPT to help me up, get started, get the ball rolling. But I'm refining it. Yeah, ChatGPT it's crazy. Like, but I literally just started. I'm very hyped for it. I just want to create a beautiful story that properly respects, Fooly Cooly, Neon Genesis Evangelion, a lot of films, and just respect the things that brought me to where I am today.
That's awesome. I think that's all you can ask for an artist to do, and I'm really excited to see what you come up with, even if it takes a year. I don't know how long it's going to take you. You said you have to turn it in this year?
I have to finish in 2 months, bro.
That does not seem like enough time.
It is not enough time, but we're going to cut corners. And
hey, deadlines bring projects to fruition, so honestly, either way, it'll be exciting.
I'll just make a trailer for the final and make the full thing over the summer.
I fully trust you with the trailer. I think that'll be great.
Yep.
Okay, I have 2 more questions.
Bet. Okay.
One of them is, I was really surprised when I saw you use Kishore's music, because I didn't know anyone else online outside of that space that listened to Kishore and artists like that. So that was surprising to me. I want to know, how did you stumble upon Kishore, and what other musical influences do you have? Oh
my God,
or major musical influences. I have 1,000 different ones I could list off. I'm sure you're the same, but
bro,
just
yep. I was waiting for this question for a long time. Yeah, music is the biggest. I think sure visuals are great, but I think music is really what influences a lot of my shit. Before I started even creating, I just loved listening to music in my free time. Like every second I would just put on some like whatever I was feeling. Let's talk about Key first. So Key, I started listening to, I think in 2019. Yeah, around 2019, because like the YouTube algorithm just decided to drop a bunch of underground aesthetic rappers into my feed.
Okay.
And then, I got One and Only, Kishore, Cisco. I have like a whole playlist from high school I have just continuously add songs to. Lil Bubblegum, Latoa, Rev, Lames, 8%, like all these artists. And like I slowly transitioned from aesthetic rap. I started listening to funk, Snot, of course. I got Baby Keem. I also listened to like K-pop when I was younger. I listened to R&B, a lot of 88 rising artists. Yeah, I like to listen to music. I love house. Started listening to hyperpop. There's like a new genre I was listening to that Play recommended. But
there's a lot of genres popping up, I feel like, recently.
Yeah, there really is. but music has a huge influence for every piece. I think, especially like when I first started, a lot of my pieces are based off the song first and not the idea, not the feeling that I'm having. This piece that I'm making right now, the short film, it's called Peach Pie. It's an idea first and music second, which is very out of the box for me. So I'm still adjusting to that. But it's always music first, get the vibe, and the idea just comes from, the subconscious. Like, okay, I'm feeling like a phone, like a Y2K flip phone would be really cool for Lava Girl, right? And then, yeah, stuff like that.
Have you ever considered making your own music, or have you ever?
I have attempted to when I was in high school, but I didn't have like the right resources or connections. So I didn't really properly know how to mix or make shit.
I think people put too much of a focus on that. Music it's all sound, it's all feeling. I think you can have a lot of fun just messing around in any DAW or with a guitar or anything you have. I think it sounds like with all your influences and how much you value the music and the emotion the music shows in your pieces, I think you should definitely give it a try if you want. This is coming from an artist who I love music. I've played music throughout my life, and I love just experimenting with sounds and stuff like that. It's a lot of fun, and you don't have to show anyone if you're not proud of it. So you can keep it to yourself and just enjoy that process, because it's a lot of fun. Do you have any instruments like a piano, guitar, or anything?
Yeah, when I was younger, I played piano. I mean, I don't have it here because it's like a fucking. I think it's like a grand piano, not a grand piano. It's like a full piano.
Oh, really?
That's the thing. Or I think it's an
like
upright.
a keyboard.
It's an upright piano, like a traditional upright. Yeah, I did piano.
That's awesome.
I stopped because of COVID. I only remember one song, barely. It's like Sonata in C major by Mozart. But yeah.
Well, I'm here to tell you, give it another try.
I would definitely give it another try when I have the time, but I definitely want to give music another try.
What does your day-to-day look like before you hop out of here? I'm curious, because you go to I never went to college, so I don't know what that looks like. I mean, you're creating a body of work. Your portfolio is very impressive. You have a lot going for yourself. You're making a short film. Obviously, it's for school, and I think that helps to be majoring in your passion. And obviously, I think you're almost lucky to have realized what you enjoy before going into school and like before choosing a major and stuff like that, because a lot of people realize after and still have to go through the whole school experience. But what does your day-to-day look like as a college student who is working on these projects on the side?
Gotcha. Yeah.
Like, do you find it hard to manage your time, or how do you manage your time?
Gotcha. So I'm really bad at managing time. This is supposed to be like not really a side project, but more like, it's just a project. It shouldn't be taking up my entire life. But when I do art, I usually put it in the forefront of everything. It's really bad. I like cut off connections. I like don't really go out. I don't really take care of myself, basically.
You're an artist. I think we all do that to some degree, and it's probably not good.
Yeah, I'm very obsessive when I start doing a project. So when I finished that like little short cure video, I had like a very nice break, just not doing anything, just being brain dead. Super nice. But yeah, I would wake up, depending on the day, I would have classes, right? Some days I wouldn't have classes until like super late, or just no classes at all. So I would just work. I would just do my art. I would just wake up, maybe eat a quick bite, and just grind till either lunch or dinner, and then just keep working, eating, showering, go sleep, wake up, repeat.
That's the perfect life to me. That's all I want, and it sounds like you have it, and I'm jealous.
I feel very I'm very grateful that I can just do things I enjoy. I like college to me is like, I'm not really learning anything. Not gonna lie, school has not taught me a single thing.
Really?
It really has not. I think I've learned more on YouTube in high school than I have learned anything here. It's honestly,
well, even if you think that, I think you are still underplaying the value of being in a major where you can work on the art forms that you do enjoy for school, because I think that otherwise your time might be taken up by something else. And
exactly, yeah. No, so I definitely appreciate. I'm grateful that I can just do my art. If I was like an engineer,
but you think the courses aren't necessarily like teaching you anything?
They honestly have not taught me anything. I could get the same education from YouTube in like a week. Yeah. It's honestly very sad. Thankfully, I have financial aid, so I don't have to pay a certain amount of money to get a fake, not really a fake education, but it doesn't seem like it's worth the same amount of money. You know what I mean?
Yes. From someone who didn't go to college, I think a lot of the time I do regret that decision, but it makes me feel a little better every time someone who does go to college says that it's a waste of their time. So your demise makes me feel a little bit better.
No, 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 no. No, I feel that. I feel that. I wouldn't say college is a complete waste of time, though. I definitely appreciate the friendships I've made and everything but the education. I appreciate everything about college, the environment, the atmosphere, and just having people to connect with, and clubs, and the social aspects of college. It's like a home away from
I've
home.
heard that a lot.
Yeah.
I think the people you meet along the way are always going to be more important. That's what people say, at least.
Yeah.
And I think we've proved it today. I mean, we talked about the community in 3D, the 3D space, and how important that is to me and you. And college is definitely great for meeting people around your age and people doing similar things in similar classes. Have you met anyone do you have specific classes for cinema stuff, or?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, so last year I reached out some cool people. They did. So I when I see somebody's work that I really fuck with, I would usually reach out and try to collab with them. Like the Yukon Spider-Man video. Me and my friend just hit up Spider-Man, and we made that video together.
I do have one last question. Last question. If you had to pick one or two people for me to interview next, what visual or audio or any type of artist that you know that maybe doesn't get the attention that they deserve, in your opinion, who would you recommend for an interview?
Oh shoot! You should have told me this before the interview.
I could have. You can have a minute, and you can send them to me if you can't think of them right now. But that's something you can think on if you want to.
Probably something I would definitely want to think on, but
okay.
It's definitely going to be a 3D artist. That's what I know for sure.
Okay, cool. So you can get back to me on that if I do decide to interview one or two of the people that you send my way. I will have that link at the bottom of this interview. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for being my first guest and my trial run. Because I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm having fun doing it. So
I had fun too. I had a lot of fun.
It was good to talk to you. I'm glad you were here first. All right. We're going to get out of here. Goodbye. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.
Goodbye. Thank you. Bye-bye.